Hello everyone, welcome to Powerline. I'm your host Kaiser, and let's talk about Musketeers. So, this is really Sky Knight's deck, but I've been kind of playing it recently because I like this deck, and I found it as a break from a lot of my other stuff. And I was actually using this for a while before I got Sanctuary Guard. And that's what we get for playing Musketeers, a nice train horn. So, let's start with the starter. Grade 3 Searcher. You know, Gridlock's a thing, and it's a sack target for some other cards. And my usual trigger lineup, 8 crit. This crit is actually really important because it inflicts damage for free. 4 draw, 4 heal. You could play 4 stands here, but you know, this is just personal preference. I've been kind of debating trying it again, but you know, I mean, it's something you try and kind of go back and forth on. Next, 4 perfect guards, standard, and they're Antonios, so you can sack and call one out if you had to. 4 Mirkka. This card is insane and can help lines hit 21k with the 12k attacker, or you could hit 19k on turn 2 with this. This card is a 10k attacker, so it's good for early game rush, and I like cards that are good for early game rush. And 3 Rebecca helps cycle through your deck and get a consistent field. And you want to dig through your deck to get certain cards, especially not Saul. I hate Saul. 4 Sylvia. Now, if you can resolve a few of these in the game, you're pretty good because it's a free +1. You just call out anything from the top of your deck, and while that randomness factor is something I don't like, it's not a big deal with this deck because you can usually find a way to sack off the other units. So, it's very good. Free pluses are free. 4 12k attackers. Early game rush, scaling into late game. Simple as that. Just standard. I mean, I don't think you really have any other options with this deck for how you'd play it, like at least the way I play it. So I like 4 12k attackers. And 3 Saul, because I don't want to see this card for the life of me unless I'm legioning. Okay, next. 4 Cecilia. This card is the difference between Sky Knight's build and mine. I personally like this card because of the new Cecilia stride, and I'll talk about it more later, but if I have to sit on this, it's kind of an inherent plus because you can use its effect to cycle back perfect guards or whatever you need, and call out 2 Cecilias and kind of go to town. So I like that. And then 4 Vera. I like Vera a lot because it gives the deck a really nice push turn before you kind of do your thing. Like, I like doing the following. I like striding first, then I'll Vera, then after that I'll go into Ahsha, and at that point they usually don't have cards in hand, so it's kind of pretty easy to win at that point. So now let's talk about the strides. I play 1 Arborea. If you brick, it's kind of like the logic behind my Sanctuary Guard deck. If you brick, it's kind of nice to have this and get out some cards, especially if you have a Sylvia out and this hits, then you get to call out another Sylvia. Pretty relevant. I play 1 Madew. This card is good because you don't run any stride enablers for consistency reasons in this deck, so getting the cards back to kind of stride is pretty helpful. And also, if you're on Legion and you stride, you can get back a Vera and re-Legion. That's pretty strong. Then I played 2 Cecilia. This card is awesome. It's such a godsend in the retiring matchup because you can ride Cecilia and then stride into this, get a plus, and then you could just keep doing this. Like, you could do this 2 times in a game. That's really helpful in that matchup. Next, 4 of the new Ahsha. Yes, I've taken out Jingle Flower. In this deck, Ahsha is so much easier to play than Jingle Flower, and it's an inherent plus. So I like cards that go plus, and I like the fact that it gives my units in the front row 5k. It's just, I like that. I mean, and also, I mean, you could technically do this even though I'm not a fan of it. If you somehow have 2 cards in the front row with the same name early game, you could stride into this first to try and get a push turn in early, but that's kind of hit or miss for me. So overall, this deck, it's kind of like Sanctuary Garden, that it has early to late game scalability, but it's a little bit weaker overall because it doesn't have the wombo combos as much. But it's still incredibly strong, and it's able to just produce a field basically out of nothing if you hit Sylvia's at the right time. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. This is your host, Caiserxs, signing out.